Hello, this is Jeff Lease with Keller Williams Iron Life Real Estate. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about flood zones. And the reason why we're doing this video is because many of my out of state buyers have questions related to flooding in Florida. And then I hope this quick little video will give you an idea about what to expect and some great information about exactly what is a flood zone and how is it determined. So, flood zones are determined by FEMA, and FEMA is a federal organization that bases flood zones on elevation of property and proximity to water. And there are multiple flood zones that we're going to talk about here in this quick slideshow. So, flood zone VE is more of a coastal area. You're thinking about when you're driving down the beach, you see these houses on pillars, and they're on pillars for a reason because flood zone VE, depending on when your house was built, the water needs to pass underneath the structure back and forth. And the V refers to the velocity of the water as it moves through your property. So you are going to get some flooding in that area. If you get a kind of major storm or severe winds, it's possible to get some flooding in Florida without a hurricane. Flood zone A is a high risk flood zone determined by the coastal area, has a 1% annual chance of flooding. You will have to get flood insurance. You'll have to get flood insurance for VE as well. Flood zone AE, as of right now, you're going to have to get flood insurance as well. We see a lot of flood zone AE here in Florida and flood zone X and X500. When you see AE, if you're looking at a property, you should be thinking about, well, how close does it sit to a community lake or pond? How close it may set to a storm drain on the street, or a creek in your backyard, or a ditch, some type of drainage ditch. So, looking down on the map and looking at the property of interest will help you. And of course, your real estate agent should be providing that information to you as well. Flood zone X500 and X. As of right now, you don't have to get insurance. If your property of interest is in flood zone X500 or X, you have a 0.2% chance of that property flooding in any given year. Now, again, I want to reiterate that we get a lot of rain from time to time in Florida. It's not out of the question to get 4 inches of rain in the afternoon if we have a severe downpour. So know that it's possible, no matter where you're at, you could get some severe water on your property. Doesn't mean you're going to get flooding in your house, but you will get some standing water from time to time, depending on the kind of storm we get. Okay, now flood zone. It's important to know. The last part of this slide is it's important to know that when you're starting to look for properties in Florida, you should work with a Florida real estate agent. One, two, you should be working with a Florida insurance agent because we are experts in Florida, and insurance in Florida is a little bit different than the rest of the country because we do experience different weather. So when you find the property that you're looking for, make sure that we partner together, your realtor, your real estate agent, and your insurance agent, to determine what kind of insurance is going to be involved, the premiums, the cost, and so forth. That's important to know. So, just a word of advice. Now, flood risk assessments. If you're buying a home and you're getting a mortgage, you're going to have a survey. Your bank's going to want a survey. And during the time of the survey, you're going to have an elevation certificate done. I would recommend that, especially if you're in a flood zone AE. If you're in a flood zone AE, it may be possible if you get that flood elevation certificate that it comes back higher than the previous survey and you end up being out of flood zone AE. We don't know. So I encourage you to get an elevation certificate. Anytime you get an elevation certificate and a survey done, those surveys and certificates have to be paid at the time you make the order, regardless if you close on the house or not. So just know that going into this, when you're buying a home in Florida, you're going to have some costs associated with that during the contract. Now, the Florida insurance rate maps, this is cool. You can get online and just type in Florida insurance rate maps, and you're going to see some great graphics on base flood elevations and boundaries. This is very important. It's possible that you can be out of flood zone AE or flood zone A and be in a flood zone X right next to those areas because your property sets a little bit higher. So that's important to know if you are one of those people who don't like to roll the dice. You want to be really conservative and be completely away from a flood zone boundary. So Of course, Florida flood zone maps are all over the internet. You can find them with a simple search. You can also find them on the county website, whether it's Pinellas, Hillsborough, Manatee, Sarasota, Charlotte County, Lee County, DeSoto County. You just type in Charlotte County Auditor's website or Sarasota County Auditor's website, and it's underneath the property search. You can find the flood maps there. Or if you're working with a great real estate agent, that should be the first thing that they show you if you're interested in flood areas. If you want to be away from a flood area, then that could be set up in your internet search from your agent so that you're not getting properties that are in a flood zone. Now, most of us know that if you're in a flood zone, that your premiums are going to be a little bit higher. Insurance rates right now in Florida are continuing to climb. Many people are complaining about the rates and the premiums right now. Of course, if you are in a flood zone, that's an extra policy, flood zone policy on top of your regular home insurance. That's why it's important, as I always tell my buyers, is to make sure that we are contacting our agent. When we find the address that we like, we're going to contact our agent. And we're going to ask the agent, we're looking for 123 Main Street. We see that it's in flood zone AE. What kind of rate do you think we can get right now? And they should give you an approximate amount. And that'll kind of give you an idea what the cost will be for this year, as well as some of the years to come. And just in predicting the insurance rates will continue to come up. Okay. Now, it's always important to educate yourself about flood zones. If you're working with a real estate agent, they should help you out if you have any questions along the way. And again, Google is your friend. You can always come to this presentation here if you're looking for information, or you can go to Google and just type in basic searches on where do I find a great insurance agent, Sarasota County, and where can I find a flood map for Sarasota County. So the information's out there. Now, final note, and most of my buyers who come to Florida don't really understand. I often hear, "Hey, I want no flood zone. I want a no flood zone area. Don't put me in a flood zone." Well, newsflash, everyone: all of Florida has a flood zone, and it's labeled based on specific levels of risk and insurance requirements. So wherever we look, it's either going to be flood zone X, flood zone X500, no insurance. Flood zone AE, you will require insurance. Flood zone A, you're going to require insurance. Flood zone VE, you're going to require insurance. So different areas require different types of insurance, but nonetheless, it's flood zone. If you guys ever have any questions about real estate and you want to talk to me, you're welcome to call me or email me. I'm all over the internet. I do have a web page. You can find me, and I would love to hear from you and help serve you here in Florida. And I always approach my business with the principle of serving you with trust, loyalty, and respect. And that's what I do. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like and subscribe button, and stay tuned for more videos to come.